Hello everyone, my name is Kaz Marcy, and the purpose of this workshop is to have a better understanding about the smoking prevention for the youth of St. Lawrence County in New York. So let's just get started. What's the problem? Well, New York is usually fairly good when it comes to smoking prevalence. Um, the prevalence in New York of smoking goes down every year, except for St. Lawrence County. St. Lawrence County seems to be stuck. Um, they don't seem to go down and they don't seem to go up very much, but they don't follow the downward trend. Also, the average age of new smokers in St. Lawrence County is only 13 years old. And so, why is this? Well, tobacco companies need to create a market for new smokers. It's what they call replacement smokers. And the way they're doing this is they're using technology. They have apps that they've created that link up to electronic cigarettes, which are appealing for the youth. They use bright colors, which resemble candy packages. They use bright colors that resemble the color patterns of ice cream trucks. They use placement, so they place it in the front of the store, usually beside the register. So if you're a kid going in to buy candy at the drug store or the convenience store, it's just right there in front of you with all those bright colors. And they also use the biggest trend right now is actually vaping, which has been created um, through these companies to get these kids addicted to this technology age of smoking and use this vaping um, in order to get them into gateway smoking and to introduce them into nicotine. And it's had a great success for tobacco companies because it really targets the things that kids are interested in and brings them into new age smoking. Um, Another problem with this is that long-term health effects aren't usually a big concern for kids, especially these young kids whose health just seems so far off into the distance. So knowing all this, how in the world can we change this trend? Well, the biggest thing we need to start with is understanding the target population. The tobacco companies are doing their research on these kids, and we need to do ours so that we know how to help them. And so our target population we're talking about are youth ages 6 to 18 living in St. Lawrence County. And the things that are important to them kind of have to be broken up by age group. So kids ages 6 to 11 see things differently than kids ages 12 to 18. When you're 6 to 11 years old, you usually seek more approval from your parents or your guardians or older role models. But when you turn 12 to 18, things start to kind of shift over and you start to seek more approval from your peers. You start to want to do things that they want to do more than what your parents want to do. You start to want to do the things that are popular or cool and whatever's the new trend. Physical appearance is also big and important for this age group, and their physical ability or their ability to be active. So another thing we can do is create programs of interest. So some examples, one is called Horizons Youth Club. It's located in Messina in St. Lawrence County, New York, and they are a clubhouse for kids ages 12 to 18. They're located very close to the school within walking distance, which allows kids easy access to this clubhouse. And it's run by younger adults who are trained and educated in community health, and that they also implement programs such as anti-drug and anti-drinking programs. And the main purpose of the clubhouse is to bring these kids together off the street, and they focus on having a good time, um, enjoying one another's company, and making sure it's a drug-free zone, including smoking and alcohol. Another program is for the younger group. It's called the Boys and Girls Club of America. Some of you have probably heard of this program. It's for the younger group, so below 12, and they focus a lot on the same things, except their focuses are more on creating a one-on-one environment with largely on role models, because that's what's more important to them than peer-to-peer. So another thing we need to remember to do is create a culture. So our tobacco companies are doing this already. They're creating a culture of vaping. They're creating a culture of fun activities. They're creating a culture of appealing products for these kids. So we need to do the same thing to combat that culture. We need to create a culture using communication methods that are popular to these kids, such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Any kind of social media that's hot right now is going to really reach out to these kids, especially reach out to those ones who aren't being reached out at clubhouses like Horizons or like the youth advocate programs of Boys and Girls Club. And we can really use these cultures to help shape a positive smoke-free outlook. Because if we don't do this, then the only culture that's being shaped is the culture being shaped by the tobacco companies. So the best thing to do is to get involved. So how can you do that? Well, we're all a group of professionals, and we can do things as a group or individual. When you're an individual, the best thing you can do is probably volunteer. These clubhouses don't have all the resources in the world, and your volunteer hours really go a long way. They could use donations for the clubhouses, something as small as board games. Just something to bring the kids together into that safe environment off the street. You can also get involved as a group. You can organize fundraisers to go towards this campaign, towards donating to clubs like Horizons and the Boys and Girls Club. You can volunteer during larger events to get the word out. That could be something like a school assembly, a school get-together, any kind of school function or a kid function would really help. You can also assist in advertising events, getting the word out to kids, knowing that those clubhouses are there, handing out flyers, different things like that. And another thing you can do is network. We could really use networking to get our resources together and to make this a successful intervention, a successful program or programs. So that's really it for my presentation, but please stick around because I have some handouts that will give you more information on how to get involved and get in contact with those programs that we talked about. Thank you.